All right. So thank you for joining us. Anybody who's looking at this opportunity, we're going to explain a little bit what's going on because this is definitely a unique one on many aspects. So I'll let you kind of talk about a little bit more about this opportunity so people can understand when they read through what's happening here, because it's kind of it's not messy, but it's just not, like cookie cutter kind of identical, property. So
Not
go
clear,
ahead and
yeah.
tell us a little bit about it, please.
Sure. So what we've got four buildings consisting of 9 total units. So we have three of the 4 that are relatively newer, built in 2018, and then one that's a little bit older. The properties are situated side by side, so there's 4 in a row on the same street. The units are set up where you've got a front unit and a back unit, and in the 3 newer properties, the back unit is above a garage. So we've got 3 units, 2018, that have multiple on one property with garages. And then the 4th that sits next to it, that's more of a standard duplex type. Okay, they're all, they range in size from 2 bedrooms to 5 bedrooms. All but one of the 9 units are currently occupied. And the 2018 obviously are much more updated than the other property, but that property has had a little done to it over time. So everything is theoretically completely move-in ready.
Okay, let me just clarify. So we have it's the same street. It's basically 4 lots.
Correct.
Right next to each other, one next to each other, deep lots. So that means it's more,
Correct.
Kind of deep. There is a living unit on the front and a living unit at the back, which is the back one is above a garage.
Yes.
And then there are one next to each other. 3 of them were all built in 2018.
Correct.
One of them is 1986, a more traditional kind of a building versus the modern 3 that are more modern ones.
Right.
And we have the 1986, if I remember correctly, is that it's actually a duplex. It's 2 units.
Correct.
The duplex is a little bit confusing because they're not necessarily sharing a wall. So that's why the term here is a little bit confusing, but it's one property, one title, one lot with 2 units, 2 doors. Then we have 2 more that are 1 property, 1 lot, 2 units, 2 doors. And only a 3rd one, or the 1 out of the 4, is actually 3 units.
Correct.
And they all vary in sizes and bedrooms, bath. So that's why it's a little bit confusing, where they're not identical. So it was someone who tried to probably maximize the square footage of the lot to build as many units as possible. And an investor who's looking into it obviously can buy all 4 lots, which is 9 units, 9 doors, 9 tenants, let's just put it this way, or 9
Right.
or each investor can buy one of those individually, one of those lots individually. And they range in prices. We already know when we price them individually based on square footage, bedrooms, etc. So they're not, an equal price per all of them. Please proceed.
Chris, correct. Yeah, no, that adds on to that, because you're right. Each one of them is different. So they all have different sizes with different rent amounts. So obviously different values per unit also. So the location is good. They're in a very walkable area with kind of a steady flow of renters also. So I think the vacancy loss on these because of the location would be minimal long-term.
Okay.
There's just kind of a steady flow.
Do we know anything about the tenants, the occupants of those, the current ones? I know when 1 is vacant, so that means we have 8 leased out. What do we know, if at all, at this point of time?
I don't know anything about the specifics of the actual occupants, but they are on 1 combined lease per unit. So they're not individually rented rooms or anything of the sort. So there's 1 lease, just like if it were 1 family per unit.
Okay. And I just want to mention, you already wanted to get out there and I kind of held you back just so we can gather more information and put everything together. So we have not put eyes on them just yet. We're talking to the seller's agent. We've been diving into this for the past almost 4 or 5 days, kind of digging out information, which is always challenging. And now we're opening it up for our investors to pick and choose. It's really a variety. And we try to make sure that we provide all the information that we are able to, to get at the, at times, at the moment. Obviously, it's all depending on what we are provided online and from the agent. So there's always a room to check and verify. And also, we don't know the condition of those properties because we have not done an inspection. We don't have an inspection report. Right. So if you're asking yourself, someone who's watching this video, what is the shape, what, etc., hang in there. Some information, is something that gets revealed to us the more we progress, especially with packages. What I've seen is sellers do not want to share lease information when the people live there until we're under contract. So we will want to vet that eventually, obviously, or not eventually, but we have to take it one step at a time. So obviously there's still unknowns that we will look into, dive into a little bit later. Okay. Yeah,
we did talk specifically about that, and they don't want to disturb any of the renters until we're under contract. The vacant unit is something I can see, so I can go look at that one. But the rest, is a little bit of an unknown at the moment. I would really expect the 2018 units to come back pretty clean just because of their age. So I'm not, I wouldn't expect much on that. The 1986 just depends on, how much has been done over the years. So.
Right. And I will say the information we've got so far is, financial statements. And we know that some of some have shared utilities and some have separate meters. So it's a little bit of a combo situation. I mean, none of them are sharing utilities between them, but on one lot, there may be a shared utility and not individual meters, and vice versa, or others are actually have a split meter. So it's kind of a mix. That's why it's a bit more challenging to present us this an opportunity, because it's so, I mean, it's a almost a coincidence, the one next to each other. Obviously, it's not. It's the same, coming from the same seller. About the immediate area, the neighborhood, the street, or the city this is in. Anything worth mentioning in terms of proximity to the center of the metro or something like that that we should know, or maybe is there any reservation you have? Something it's good to say. It's a great city, but I don't like this or that, something of that sort.
So there are a lot of rental properties in the city, but like I said, there are a steady flow of renters, which is why it's that way. So, there is easy access if you wanted to actually go into the DFW area. There's rails that run to do that, so you can get around pretty easily. University obviously is a big attraction, so you've got a lot of people drawn to that. And I think the walkability is becoming more popular here. That's not something Texas is known for. So having an area where you can walk and shop and eat and do stuff like that is popular.
I see. So
and this has that.
So I want to kind of spend a minute to clarify that. You're saying the walkability in the sense of you can live in this house and pretty much walk, within a few minutes into shopping or restaurant without need of a car, which is untypical for Texas at large. But this area is actually, specifically this street or this location is a very walkable to those, like nice nearby amenities. You don't have to drive everywhere.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's pretty tough to find if you're not in, the heart of the city here.
Okay. So this is a very central location in that sense. Yes. Perfect. Okay, perfect. I think we have everything we need for this section. Obviously, we have the numbers, here or in our property opportunity page. Thank you very much for the time, for the information, and we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.